You're listening to Sips of Sanity, your toolkit for emotional and intuitive intelligence, or what we like to call the dirty work. Let's do it.
It's Limerence week, Kelly, and I'm super excited to share this.
It's Limerence Education Week. We're not advocating for you to be in Limerence.
That's so good.
We're teaching emotional intelligence.
Yes, right. What am I thinking? It's a word that I've only recently learned, and I'm 61 years old. And it's like, why didn't I learn the word limerence and what it is and what it means about yourself when I was like 12 years old, which is, typically when it starts way younger than that. And who even knew that? Mm-hmm. So first of all, I have to say thank you to Dorothy Tanoff, who wrote the book Love and Limerence and changed my life.
And we'll put a link in the description for anyone who's interested in the book.
Yeah.
We don't get kickbacks from our recommendations. We should probably look into an affiliate program, but we're saying this because it is just tried, tested, and true. It's not something where we're pushing a book.
Yeah, and I want to thank her because I've read her book and took a lot of notes out of it for these podcasts. But also did a lot of other research too. But I do want to say thank you to her in particular.
Okay, so people are wondering, because we're too far in now, what is limerence?
Limerence is the obsessive-compulsive thinking about another person where you want more out of that relationship than they are capable or want to give you. So it's this hopeful feeling that you have that there is more to a particular relationship or that a person is more or different than they actually are.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So this, now correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm kind of playing the listener's role in this podcast here. I can think a lot of thoughts in the hopefulness, and we're mixing feelings and thoughts here. I think that's something really important to point out as distinct, is that the thoughts are also, how could it be different? Is it different? Believing that it's different, but then it results in the feelings of this hope or false hope that reality is different than it is.
I think you just led into the next point beautifully in that in terms of psychology, they say that that's a psychological state and that neuroscientists now are saying it's also neurological.
So a state of being.
Yes, and that it is a mental disorder, which just to me was mind-boggling. And that's important to know because then you can think about it in different terms, right?
Okay, so I would like to kind of spell things out for people too who might be listening to this and being like, oh, fuck. Right? There's a difference. Let's compare it. There's a difference between having a depressive thought and actually being, having a disorder, right? The same way that we can have a suicidal thought, but not necessarily be suicidal, right? So just so people can kind of see the spectrum that we can be on, just because you have a limerent moment does not mean you have a limerence disorder.
That's right. And you could be limerent over one person and then not be limerent over other people or limerent again.
Right.
Over others. You could move into a healthier relationship eventually.
And be in many other healthy relationships with people in your life. So I think I'm so excited about this topic and I love that you're leading us through this week. I want people to be excited with us for sure and understand that self-awareness is so, so important, right? And this is just another thing that we're asking you to be aware of when you are examining your thoughts. Not to judge it, but to sit there and be like, okay, where am I at in terms of reality? Because oftentimes we have this awful tendency as human beings to believe everything we think, right? And so if you can now become more aware of your thoughts, and there's a growing, not demand, but a growing interest in meditation all over the world. And meditation is awareness of thought. It's not about no thought. It's actually about the awareness of what it is and having emotional detachment to it. So this kind of awareness can be, okay, is this a limerent thought or is this a thought grounded in reality?
Oh, and that's one of the reasons why I thought this book was just absolutely so amazing, because then I could sit there and go, oh my God, I was actually limerent over this person. I was actually in a state of mind that wasn't reality. And then it was like, okay, that's good to know that I did that. So then you can now think about a person and think, okay, am I in reality or am I just hopeful? Am I doing these things? And we're going to go into that in the next 4 discussions in different types of environments so people can go, oh shit.
Yeah. Can I reword what you're saying? Because people are going to resonate with it differently just based on where they're at, right? And language, of course, too. What you're actually talking about is a tremendous amount of personal responsibility. Because oftentimes when we are limerent over someone or something, we tend to blame the other person for not living up to our limerent thoughts, right?
That's really true.
And then we get mad at them and we think
Yeah.
they're the problem and what's wrong with you. And when you start to understand what limerence is and how you are experiencing it yourself in different areas, we have a personal responsibility to actually deal with reality instead of faulting someone for not meeting our unrealistic expectations. So, and why is this important, right? Because people, everyone wants to know, like, well, why is this relevant to me? Why should I care about this? There's too much content to consume all over the internet. Why this? Don't you want to know if your thoughts are fucking you over?
Yes. And don't you want to know how to step out of your own anxieties?
Yes, and have that control and to be able to realize, oh, that's actually not someone else's problem. That's my problem. And I can deal with it because it's in my control. It hands you back healthy power and healthy control if you're willing to be the good observer about yourself and be personally responsible.
It also hands you back your time.
Hell yeah.
Because this limerent state of mind is a choice, and it is, and you can train yourself not to be, but it's a waste of your life. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of your energy. And now I'm sure people listening are screaming at the screen. It's a waste of my money. It's a waste of my...
I thought you were going to say they were screaming at us.
I am. But I mean kind of like...
with us.
But with us, like continuing to give a list. It's a waste of the money I spent on this.
Energy, life.
Yeah, the things I did, the relationships I lost because I was limerent over this person, the opportunities I missed with other people. Oh my God, as we go through the next 4 discussions, people can sit back and go, oh my God, the list is huge. So what I would say to people listening to this, if you're a person who likes to sit down with a pen and paper or your notepad or your phone, write down as you listen to these 5 discussions what you've lost.
Oh, I love that. So you're actually asking them to identify their own pain points. I love it.
I am.
I want to say too, because we've done a lot of shows on narcissism. We've talked about gaslighting. Narcissists gaslight us. We can have a big discussion about that. But what I want to say is if you are a listener and you've already identified that you've had someone in your life that has verbally abused you, gaslit you, etc., you may actually understand why you were in limerence, right? And so we also don't want you to think like, oh, I'm an asshole. That's why I'm limerent. That's not what we're saying. We're not faulting you. You might actually understand, oh, I can understand why I was in limerence based on what my boss kept telling me or my partner kept telling me or my parents kept telling me. So it's just, if you can be a good observer and listen with humility and emotional detachment, we can just learn a lot together and celebrate what we learn.
I'm looking forward to the next 4 shows, Kelly.
Thanks for listening to Sips of Sanity. Catch the full monthly workshop on patreon.com/the Sarlos.